El Salvador. I had this incredible opportunity to come down here and work on a coffee farm for a week. And after talking to the farm manager, Luis, it sounds like it's going to be a busy week. First, we're going to go up to the mountains where the coffee's grown. Can you imagine carrying a 100-pound bag down here? And learn how they pick the beans. And then we're going to bring the beans back down here where they wash, dry, and bag the beans.
My wife Kelly and I traveled from our farm in Oregon down to El Salvador, which is a country known for delicious pupusas and some of the highest quality coffee beans in the world. The goal of this trip was to learn how coffee is grown and harvested, to see what farming is like in this region of the world. We were set to spend the week at La Finca de Cristiani Burkard, located near the quiet town of Guadalupe, which only has one church and 2 schools and revolves mostly around agriculture, like sugarcane and coffee beans. The farm is owned by Luis Cristiani and operated by Luis Gutierrez. His son, Luis Jr., acted as our translator during our visit. Our day starts driving up the steep and rough slopes of Chicotepec, the second highest volcano in El Salvador.
That's a volcano right there.
It was a slow and bumpy hour-long drive up dirt roads to our first stop.
Can you tell the difference by looking at them? Like, would Luis recognize them?
¿Tú lo reconoces? Sí. Este es un purpuracem. El color del agua es la diferente a todos los cafés. ¿Ves este color de acá? Coloradito. Ajá.
Oh yeah, darker color.
Sí.
Huh?
So that's how you can tell the difference.
After climbing just a little ways, I'm struck by how different this farming is from what I do back home.
Oh man, this is steep.
You don't see fields of coffee plants here, like we would have fields of, say, green beans or corn back home. Here, the farms blend into the hillside and are intermixed with the thick jungle vegetation.
Estamos en un lugar donde vemos la importancia de la sombra del café. Donde hay sombra, el café se mantiene verde, produce más y tiene más hojas. Y donde le pega el sol directamente a la planta de café, es el color amarillo y produce menos y es más susceptible a enfermedades.
Plants in the shade, they just look a lot thicker too. So you really want to have everything covered if you can. And you leave a lot of the trees to grow naturally to provide shade.
Tenemos un programa que estamos plantando 500 árboles de sombra anuales en esta finca. A cada 10 metros una planta de sombra. The roya.
The rust?
Yeah. This is the cancer for the coffee.
Yeah.
This is de ahí.
Will that plant survive?
¿Esa planta va a sobrevivir o se va a reponer?
Posiblemente sí, porque ahorita no hay mucha humedad, pero si tuviéramos bastante humedad esta planta va moriría. Este es el problema más grande que tenemos los caficultores. Si perdemos la hoja, perdemos la cosecha. Este es el grano dañado.
So this is drought you used to capture a bug that we call broca.
Entonces el grano brocado.
They damage the coffee bean or the plant?
They damage the coffee. The bug kind of gets into the grain and starts eating it from the inside.
Esta pajilla que ve aquí tiene 2 tipos de alcohol que juntos forman un aroma como que fuera una fermentación de café y eso es lo que atrae a la broca, vuela y como este está adentro, ella cae aquí y se ahoga.
It's like Louise and me, attracted to the alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Esta broca se puede combatir con químicos. El problema es que el químico para poder matar la broca es demasiado tóxico, es una franja roja.
Better to use the traps.
Sí, está prohibido en el mundo aplicarlo porque es demasiado tóxico.
But it's actually forbidden worldwide because it's way too toxic.
After exploring the rugged terrain, I noticed workers picking coffee at a good distance from the farm.
And then they have to carry these bags at the end of the day all the way back down to
the house.
It's like half a mile maybe?
They took like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and those things are heavy. That's some rough terrain too. I can imagine carrying those that far.
Yeah, it's a very hard job.
Probablemente tú vas a ver aquí niños cortando. Explícate, sí. Pero es bien importante de que el café nos ha marcado tanto y nos ha dado tanto que las carreteras se hicieron como el café, pero el calendario escolar también va como el café. El calendario escolar sale en noviembre y entran en febrero cuando va a empezar y cuando termina la recolección de café.
So kids get out of school and they come up to the fields and help their parents pick.
It actually reminded me a lot of when I was that age, handpicking garlic on my farm back home. It's easy for me to see how passionate Luis was about growing coffee, and there was no doubt in my mind when he told me he had devoted his life to it. We traveled higher up the volcano to a spot where I could try picking coffee myself.
So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to use the refractometer in order to measure the sweetness of this coffee grain.
A refractometer?
Refractometer.
Okay, so it goes on here?
Yeah.
How many drops?
As much as you can. This coffee actually gave us 3 dots. So what we do now is we close it and we measure it.
Oh wow, yeah. Looks like 23. 23. That's good?
That's a pretty good measure.
And you're shooting for what?
We're shooting around 20 to 24. That's like the best we can get.
And then it's ready to harvest.
Yeah, that's a good coffee.
Something I didn't even know is that there's two coffee beans per fruit, and it's a half and a half.
We moved higher up the volcano, stopping along the way at multiple farms. Each farm, or finca, had different types of coffee and quality. Many different varieties have been planted and studied over the years.
This little guy.
Continually trying to find the best quality coffee bean that they could produce on their farm.
This geisha here, JD, is one of the sweetest, very delicate, but very uniform maturity or ripening. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. Instead of drying them in the plants and all that, they dry it on the tree.
Can you use them?
Yes, yes. You know, remember in coffee, like every grain that got leaves, it's usable.
That's great.
De unas plantas y la metimos en medio de un geisha, entonces por polinización que a ver si podemos obtener algo de geisha en esta variedad, ¿sí? Eso es lo que se va buscando, pero es tiempo, es trabajo largo, ¿vea?
Yeah. Muy buen café.
Luis is saying this is the highest elevation farm that he has. The stuff growing down the valley are low quality, and they go to like your cheap coffee places, but then up here is the specialty beans that really have a lot of flavor and fetch a higher price.
Okay, this is the cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
So red.
So just the red ones. Rojo?
Just red.
Yeah.
Verde, no?
No.
We pay $162 for 25 pounds.
25 pounds. No, this is 25 pounds?
Yeah.
You have to go faster than that.
No.
El canasto se pone aquí, en la cintura.
Around their waist?
That's why I was so slow.
Ahí. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's good. You just grab it like this, go like that?
No. Only the more red.
It's so tempting just to grab the whole branch and rip it all down, but you can't get the leaves and you can't get the stems, so. And you can't get the green ones too, so you have to be really careful and individually pick the berries. It takes a long time. But my basket's not getting full very quick. And I got a lot of stems too. I don't think I'd ever get sick of the view. I think I've been picking for, what have I been picking, like 45 minutes now? Half an hour? And this is all I got.
Quit while you're ahead.
This work is not easy, and I quickly learned how slow I was. After picking the beans, we now had to sort the beans.
What they're doing now is they are separating all the green grounds from the red ones because these all are sensiper. So green
But you still use the green ones for other things?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but that's a lower quality.
Yeah.
Once sorted, the beans are bagged and need to be carried to the truck.
Oh my God! How do you get on your shoulder?
I thought it would help out and huck a bag onto my shoulder like I saw the other workers doing, and was blown away by how heavy they were. They were well over 100 pounds, and I don't know if I could have got it up onto my shoulder without some help.
Shouldn't have dropped it. Is there another bag? I'll do it.
I felt really bad, so the least I could do was give my beans to the person whose bag I broke.
Ay, te lo voy a regalar bien porque te rompió el saco, dice.
With the trucks loaded, we headed back down the volcano. There's going to be a lot more hard work the following day, processing the beans we had just picked.
Our farm back in Oregon has been loyal Wilbur Ellis customers for a long time now, like 20 or 30 years. And they were the first company I approached with this idea of working in another part of the world on a farm because I thought it'd be a perfect fit. It'd be a company I'd be really proud to partner with. And one of the really cool things is that their Central American sales rep is actually the one that put me in touch with Luis down here on this coffee farm. So I can't thank Wilbur enough for their support and for helping make this trip happen. And my favorite part about Wilbur is that they give out a lot of free hats. We're about to head out and do some work, but first, a nice cup of coffee.
Before we headed out to the processing plant, Luis Jr. guided me through a taste test with Marie, one of the farm's accredited taste testers. The tasting process was even more complex than harvesting the coffee. I couldn't hide the fact that I was a little lost.
My nose is nowhere near strong enough to pick up the differences. It's amazing you guys can tell the little nuances of each variety.
I learned coffee taste testers have developed a language to help them talk about and describe the subtle nuances of the coffees they're testing. With the aromas alone, there are over 30 different descriptors used, like leather, medicine, pepper, and rubber. None of them are bad traits or are less desirable than others. They're just used to help them put into words the many different qualities in a coffee.
Por ejemplo, cuando what are you picking up on?
Rubber. Lots of rubber.
First, we start with some blind smell tests on each of the coffees.
My nose is not strong. I'm not. They smell. You can lift it if you want to. They're really strong smelling, but I'm not gonna. I don't notice the difference. I don't know. Siete was the one your dad said he liked, right?
Yeah, it is. It actually has a very interesting smell.
Then, after removing the top layer of coffee grounds, we cup the coffee with a big slurp.
Oh man, I'm definitely gonna choke. Is that good?
Yeah. Why we do it is because we have to fill all our mouth with the coffee.
Which I learned aerates it and accentuates the subtle flavors by fully covering all the different areas of your tongue.
This one is called honey.
Uh-huh. Is it sweeter? Honey is sweeter?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is my personal favorite.
Uh-huh.
So, then we had the washed coffee, and then we had the natural coffee.
Lastly, each coffee is given a score between 1 and 100, even using half points when needed.
Bueno, a mí de la que más me impresionó fue la 7. Esta 7 tiene una acidez bien brillante. Tiene lima combinado con naranja. De hecho, a la 7 yo le había dado al principio 83 y le subí medio punto más a 83.5.
So all three you guys scored at the same.
We got the same score in
That's
the first
amazing.
one. Yeah.
I'll need more practice to develop my coffee tasting skills. After all, Luis Sr. has been doing this for over 10 years now.
So I'm gonna start drinking at home, my coffee in the morning.
You wanna spit it out afterwards?
It's time to head back outside because a truck full of beans had just arrived back from the volcano and needed to be weighed and unloaded.
Scale house. Very familiar with scale houses.
This work is really hard, but I tried to pitch in, this time being careful not to break the bag. Next, the beans have to be washed and separated.
This separates the two types of coffee.
Yeah.
Because the heavier one goes a certain way and the lighter one goes...
Goes down there.
The lighter ones float and the heavier ones go down, and the heavier ones are the better ones. And the water gets circulated, right, and reused?
Sí. Este café es de 1550 metros.
It's a really nice coffee up high. Huh?
Very high.
Este café, el proceso que damos es natural. Inmediatamente desflotado lo pasamos a las camas africanas.
The specialty drying beds, the best varieties go to.
There are 3 different methods that the coffee beans are processed here at the facility: natural, honey, and washed. For now, we'll follow the natural beans all the way to the drying beds.
So after the beans get washed, they come over here and spread out, right?
Yeah, we spread it out as thin as possible because since it's wet, it's very dangerous to miss the coffee.
To rot?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
to get rot.
And these are the natural coffee beans because they're left in their skin.
Yeah.
And the skin's gonna dry down pretty quick. And
This is the natural coffee, and this is a special one actually. So this is one of the best coffees we have here.
does the natural coffee in the skin, does it take longer to dry than the other ones that are just the beans?
Yeah, because it's thicker.
And so how long would these take to dry?
Like between 11 days.
11 days.
Yeah.
Este bien dulce.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And these ones, you said, have more caffeine than the other ones because it's in the skin, right?
Tiene más cafeína la cáscara que el propio grano en sí. Y de aquí puedes hacer una bebida energizante.
So this is the good stuff. Like when you want to wake up in the morning, you want to get the natural stuff.
Yeah.
Another processing method is to remove the skins from the beans while leaving the beans in their natural juices.
These are the coffees that we denominate as honey, because it has like this kind of honey over the grain.
It's the juice from the bean.
Yeah, it's the juice from the bean. So
You're not adding anything to it. It's just the natural juice that the bean is already in.
Yeah, we try to keep it in order to get a different flavor. These coffees tend to be like way more sweet than the other ones.
It's just constantly stirring them to keep the air moving through them.
Yeah, they make this like 3 times a day.
The third method of how the beans can be processed is to remove the skins and then wash all the juices off the bean. This is called washed.
So tell me the difference between drying it on the beds and drying it over on the patio?
Well, the main difference in drying all the coffee in beds is you get a better quality, and the coffee is cleaner because it doesn't go on the floor, because it's always landing on this.
And there's more airflow underneath it coming up through?
Yeah, so that's a better quality coffee because you get a slower dry, and that actually helps coffee.
What's the most popular way to prepare it? The washed,
Washed coffee,
honey, or the natural?
washed coffee is the most popular one.
Is that what you guys produce the most of?
Yeah, it's the one that people buy the most.
Over on the patio, the beans are spread out to dry in the sun. The workers methodically rake the beans and move them around similar to how they dry them on the beds.
Follow the shadow. Yeah.
Okay. Just to get the most sun on the beans.
Yeah.
Okay. See?
Yeah.
It's amazing the difference in temperature between the top and then underneath it's a lot cooler and more moist. It dries out really quick on top. Luis said that when they pile it up at night, that if there's any of the beans that are more wet than others, that it really sucks the moisture out of those and distributes it more evenly across the whole pile. And then in the morning, it's a more uniform moisture content. It's a ton of work. I can't imagine every night you gotta rake it up and pile it up and then spread it back out again.
After several days drying on the patio, some of the beans are bagged up and moved to a large machine dryer, which uses wood from the farm to heat air that is blown into the drums that are constantly turning.
So why do you bring that seed in here to dry versus leaving it out there longer to finish drying?
No tiene ninguna diferencia, es el mismo café, es igual, no hay diferencia. El costo operativo es más bajo porque aquí solo tenemos una persona trabajando y ya tenemos mucha gente trabajando. El mismo sistema está diseñado para hacer todo en automático, o sea, solo cambian de posición una compuerta y ya el café va directamente desde de la secadora hasta el silo de almacenamiento.
After drying, the beans are then bagged and, once sized and graded, are ready to be exported out all over the world. After seeing how all the beans are processed and dried, I did wonder what happened to all the skins, which I noticed were being carried away by an auger and dumped into a wagon. Luis told me again how nothing on the farm goes to waste, and showed me where the skins are being turned into compost.
La idea es manejar todos los subproductos, pulpa y mucílago, y reutilizarlos como fertilizantes. Cuando nosotros fertilizamos la finca, todo ese fertilizante regresa en la pulpa y el mucílago, en tierra.
So you can see that this is basically dirt.
Yeah, it just looks like dirt now, yeah. And then it just goes right back in, huh?
Si necesitamos regresarlo a la finca.
The farm was very impressive in how little it wastes. Along with an ecosystem for the employees, the farm is also an ecosystem for growing coffee. Starting coffee plants in the nursery, composting skins for fertilizer, using fungus from the mountain to create thriving worm beds, wood burners to dry the beans using wood from the farm. So many tools like rakes were made on the farm. Things come from the farm and stay on the farm. It's a big cycle of inputs and outputs. We sat down with Luis at the end of the day to ask his thoughts on the Salvadoran coffee business and if he thinks others treat the environment the way they do.
Yo creo que sí que deben de haber muchas personas porque no queda más que hacer por este planeta que si no cuidar el medio ambiente. Y solo lo puedes hacer cuando tú lo contaminas. Ahorita contamos con una certificación Rainforest Alliance. Estamos trabajando duro para que nuestro volcán tenga una denominación de origen, que de hecho el nombre va a ser Café de Origen del Volcán Chinchotepec. El café para mí es bien importante porque a través del café se alimenta mi familia, estudios de mis hijos se pagan con café, pero somos un montón de personas que dependemos del café. En la región que estuvimos visitando, más de 600 familias dependemos del café directamente, donde todos tenemos techo, tenemos comida, tenemos agua. Entonces para nosotros el café es lo más importante que tenemos.
That's the thing that's most apparent to me is how much pride you guys have in every step of the process you guys do.
Lo que a mí me encantaría que la gente entendiera es cuánto cuesta producir una taza de café, porque ustedes han estado con nosotros y han visto cuánto pesa un saco, cuánto cuesta cortar, cuánto cuesta transportar, cuánto cuesta procesar. Al final, atrás de una taza de café hay un montón de trabajo bien pesado.
To go from the top of that volcano to the finished bag of beans, there's so much work and so much labor involved.
This was such an unforgettable experience to learn what life is like for Luis Sr. and Jr. being coffee farmers in El Salvador. Although we were from different parts of the world, spoke different languages, and had very different farms, we had so much in common being people who nurture and cultivate our land to provide for ourselves and others around us. Just as I had suspected, we shared a passion and lifestyle that I think all who call themselves farmers have.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Salud.